YouTube? What the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here. I'm going to play a live battle for you, but then I've also got a replay from one of my viewers that will watch. So that way, hopefully we split the best of both worlds here. Some of you get to see me play, and some of you get to see cinematics, which is what you like. I don't know why I picked the Dwarves. Part of me almost instantly regrets it, but fortunately for me, the Empire is not a chariot faction. What kind of dwarf army do I want? Let's get, Dwarf Warriors should be good against, well, hold on, let's think about this. Grumbling, so we got a good infantry line there. Let's get a Rune Lord. Bring him with all the goodies. Probably wouldn't hurt to have that against the Empire. And let's bring a Thane in case there's a Flying Lord. Get the Tormentor Sword. Which is kind of cheesy, but it works. And then I want a couple of cannons. Actually, I want a cannon and a Goblobber. And then, let's see. Let's do maybe a Rangers with great weapons. This makes my front line pretty small. Maybe we should forego those. Dang, I can almost get another Dwarf Warrior if we just leave that. There, that gives us more infantry. Still decent infantry. So this is anti-flyer. This is just to do damage to whatever. This could also be anti-cavalry. Stop Flying Lord. Melts good infantry, got our own good infantry to fight back. I mean, this should be hopefully a decent all-around dwarf army. Or, well, it's the Greenskins now. But, I mean, again, anti-black orc. Hold the flanks, pull them forward, wreck monsters. What I may do, though, is bring a couple of Quarrelers to help clean out, like, skirmish cav and stuff like that if it comes. And then let's level up these Dwarf Warriors. So how about that? Let's try this. I think it could potentially work. All right. I said the Empire wasn't a chariot faction. He could have totally brought a bunch of chariots now, for which I'll be glad I have a cannon and Ulthar's Raiders. Don't have any Slayers. Don't have any Slayers, but we should be able to help melt away Black Orcs, at the very least. With the Rune Lord and the Rune Smith. A little bit uneven terrain here. We'll have to make sure we deploy properly. This isn't bad, actually. This isn't bad.
Hammerers! Longbeards! Cannon! I am strong. Go! War of vengeance!
I'm gonna keep all these guys together. I don't really like it, but at the same time, if I get them separated, they're a whole lot more likely to die.
Dwarf warriors! The clans unite! Quarrelers! For the High King.
Those guys are a little bunched up, but it'll be okay. Push those guys out just a little.
Fight the vengeance.
Push that out just a little. Okay.
The clans unite.
Let's maybe start our Thane back here a little. Yeah. Let's try that.
Give me vengeance. Lord of vengeance.
Okay.
Rules of
Put those two in a group. Put him in his own group. Let's actually group our front line separate too. Group one.
blood. Ready to
There we go. Let's try this.
Warriors.
Let's get ready to target our artillery. The targets that count most. Cannons. Track Azag. Goblobber hit Black Orcs. He's got forward deploy units. This is why I brought Quarrelers. Okay, Azag is moving too much for my cannon to hit him right now. Doing some good damage to Black Orcs over here. I'm not sure if we'll even do a whole lot of damage to Azag. About half tempted to just turn my cannon on these black. Actually, I'm not sure if we can hit those Black Orcs at that angle. Just stay on Azag. What's he got? Probably Buna and Spirit Leech. Yeah, he's got some squigs. Wolves. Yeah, got a couple of hits on Azag there. We'll take it because he can't heal. We'll take every last thing we can get. Okay, you got some filthy. Let's see if we can get our Thane under there and lock Azag down. Counter charge there. Counter charge, counter charge. Got a Fate of Bune on us over there, that's not ideal. Okay, he's getting behind my lines here, which is, again, not ideal. Let's get back here with the Thane. Get over this way, get over this way. Let's take these Rangers over here, get the Rangers' great weapons out of the way. We're losing our flank. It's less than ideal. Let's see if we can get in range with the Tormentor Sword. We're not quite in range. Oh, we're gonna just miss Azag there with the Tormentor Sword. Yeah, come on. Swing back around, Azag. If we can get Azag down on the ground again. He's avoiding my Thane. Let's get the Hammerers back here. He's got a bunch of archers up front, too. That's pretty irritating. Where's our Thane at? Thane. Kill orcs. Yeah, I don't think we're going to win this. We're pretty far behind, and he's got Rusty Arrows and other archers back here that we can't answer, so we're in bad shape. The flanks from... he had too many flanking units, and we couldn't stop him. So we're going to lose. Pretty certain of it at this point. The Fate of Buna deleted a couple of our units, and I wasn't able to get a hold of his lord. Really need to get Azag trapped, but we still probably wouldn't win, even if I do. Yeah, he is well aware that he's got to keep Azag away from my Thane. I pretty much gave him an easy win here. How did... What? Wish I would have known that earlier. Too many units. Too many units. The Skulkers are kind of a... They're kind of crappy to counter, too. We can lock Azag down, but it's too late. Yeah, too late. I figured we'd lose that. We got beat bad, actually. It really wasn't even close. He beat the crap out of us. It says valiant defeat, but that was not a valiant defeat. That was a crushing defeat, all things considered. So my army, I mean, I had good infantry in the front. It didn't get the best charges. There was goblin archers I couldn't answer. I couldn't protect. So like I spent this money back here. Cannon, goblobber, we spent all this money and then we couldn't protect it. So the artillery here ended up being very not worth it. If we would have dropped the artillery, then we may have had a good chance in this fight because we could have protected our back lines against the squigs and the wolves. So nicely coordinated attack by my opponent. I liked it. His infantry line was really not all that significant, but he had some key units here. If you look at the damage the Skulkers did on the flank, he did very well with those units. If you look, the Black Orcs actually didn't cause like a ton of problem up front. These ones are still very much alive. These ones did really good damage, but like these ones got wrecked. It's not that hard to do so. I think that, again, no answer to the archers by the time I had to deal with this stuff. Otherwise, his archers would have been fairly easy to deal with. But when you leave a rusty arrows out there, and you're dead. You're done. You can't do it. So the army choice there was poor for me, and ended up costing me the battle. Because my opponent's army was just better in terms of being able to pressure me on multiple fronts. I'd have to worry about Black Orcs. I'd have to worry about my black lines. I'd have to worry about a flyer. Like he had a nice balance of units there. And if I was looking at it again, I would probably, I don't dislike my choice of Rune Lord here. And then the Runesmith, I think, again, was the right choice. Probably something like this again. Thane is a good choice. You need to try and use the Tormentor Sword. In that case, I couldn't get close enough to do it. What I would say is that, again, hindsight's perfect, right? I still like the idea of having a good front line. And we need a good front line, especially since you come up against Black Orcs. You got to have some way to fight back. So we'd have something like this. Again, it's just that if I didn't spend the money on the artillery, that gives me considerably more units. And we could have done something like you could have had the Quarrelers. Still had a couple of these guys, because that's all you'd really need. And then you could have had more warriors. And, you know, again, Ulthar's Raiders, they're good. Definitely a good unit, but they ended up doing nothing for me because I couldn't keep them free of those units. Now, in this case, they could be safer. Or, you know, you'd have enough money to do something like this, which would be pop in a couple of Slayers and still have enough money for miners. So, like, this army would have been a lot more dangerous to what the Greenskins just brought. The Skulkers on the flank would struggle against Slayers, and the Wolf Riders wouldn't have had as much ease getting my backlines, which means that his Black Orcs would have had to fight it out against all the anti-armor infantry, and my Quarrelers would have been able to fire back. He still would have been able to use Fate of Buna at least twice, which means that a couple of my units would get deleted, but at that same point, I could probably use the Rune Lord and the Runesmith successfully. The Thane, next time, you know, probably could just use Tormentor Sword if you couldn't get Azag. Just use it to pin down some of the mobile units and kill them. This would have been a lot more successful. But again, the problem with something like this build and how you deal with the Greenskins is that if they bring a bunch of monsters or something too, then this build doesn't really have a ton of anti-armor or anti-large to it. So it's interesting. Definitely interesting. Didn't like the pick on my part, though. Didn't like it. But good game to my opponent. Good game to my opponent. My build just ended up being wrong. You know what? I said we were going to show a replay, but I kind of want to play another one because I don't like ending on a loss. I'm not like super competitive, but everybody likes to try and win, right? Let's try again. See if we can get a match. I also don't play real well with dwarves. I haven't really gotten good with them. I've played against them where sometimes I struggle, because they are a lot better these days. They're a whole lot better. I don't really think I want to try them again, though. Lizardmen? Ugh. Ugh. Freaking hate playing against the Lizardmen. I'll bring my Dark Elves, because they're my most successful build against the lizards right now. I don't think we need any of that. I'll just use my Hargoneth Executioner build. I need some Dark Shards. Let's see, some Dread Spears. I wonder if we could take a variant to this build where I get some Cold One Dread Knights. Dark Shards, Dread Spears. So we can kill most of his infantry with something like this. Malekith can Soul Steal. These guys can help with the Krokgar and Cavalry. Let's get one more Dread Spear. So we'd have 4 Dread Spears. I don't want to have too many Dark Shards, because then it just comes too many targets. What do I want left? Let's bring... These guys are going to need a few chevrons to hang in the fight. And then when I look at what's left... You know what, we need some Witch Elves. That's what it is we're missing. There we go. Yeah, let's try this. We'll keep 1 Witch Elf around Malekith. And then we'll keep the Cold One Knights, because these Cold One Knights, anti-armor, anti-large, should be pretty effective if he brings like a lighter cavalry, like feral Cold Ones, to try and get to my Dark Shards. So I'll have them and Malekith to help keep my Dark Shards safe. Hargoneth should dump all over his infantry. These guys just need to hold for as long as possible. Let's see how it works. Alright, I'd like to not go 0-2 tonight. Let's see if we can even it up. Part of my problem is I don't play enough battles. So I just don't stay in good practice micro-wise and everything else. I really don't like playing against the Lizardmen though, because they're just annoying. Constant dino pull-through. It's how you have to play them. I'm not knocking that, I'm not a big fan of it. They're kind of an annoying faction right now. Kind of like the Dwarves, to be honest. Because it's like, if you pick against them, the best way to take care of them is to spam chariots. But then you hate that when you are the Dwarves, and so everything you build usually has to have chariots in mind. So, Dwarves are another one that's kind of irritating. My opponent, though, with that Greenskins build, he picked a very decent army. Like, he could have just done a bunch of boar chariots and annoying stuff like that, so I give him major kudos for fighting me with a real army, doing well with it. Made that a much more interesting fight than it could have been otherwise.
We are ready.
Battle ready. Cold-blooded killers. Dark Elves.
The merciless host. Dread Spears. Nagarothi.
Cold ones. Cold-blooded killers.
Malekith.
Dark Elves.
Okay.
Malekith.
We gotta make sure to get good charges with their executioners.
True heir of a
What's he got? Okay, this infantry's gonna die up front. He's got one good no, that's a skink cohort. Yeah, he's loaded up on dinos. Yeah. That's basically all it is. Yeah, just anti-revivification crystal. That's gonna be annoying. We're gonna ignore those skirmishers on the flank for now. Just kind of turn our flank out a little bit so our shields can do some work here. Let's execute these guys. Okay, get this. Let's go ahead and soul steal. Try and get rid of as many of these guys as quickly as we can. Let's try and nuke this skink priest before he uses his stuff. Come on, get rid of the skink priest. There we go, skink priest is almost down. Okay, count out the skink priests. Get on Krokgar. Malekith, you help hold these guys back. Witch elves. Let's get over here and drive stuff berserk. Hold my flank. Let's just chase these chameleon skinks off for a second. Alright, Krokgar's going crazy, so we should be able to deal with him. This is going really well so far. Okay, Malekith, get back here and get this guy off me. Spread out so he can't bog us all down. Yeah, just get out of there. Chase these guys off. The Dark Shards. Get Malekith a little more while he's running away. We're actually dealing with the dinos very, very well right now. Ah, some of our cavalry went insane. It's the downside to cold ones. Yeah, there we go. That'll just get these guys out of the way. It's totally worth a spearman to do that. Or stupid pull through. Witch elves, stay on that. Go out here and get these guys off me. Executioners, get back into the fight. Shoot that guy up a little. Soul steal these guys. Speed their passing. Let's get out of here. Okay, that unit's gonna rout. Let's set back up. You guys just get these chameleon skinks out of here. Okay. Yeah, this army ends up, in my opinion, being pretty effective against this kind of dinosaur-heavy builds, because you got a lot of anti-armor, and you got plenty of ways to deal with stuff like Krokgar. Yeah, I think again, chameleon skinks. There we go. Woo! Get him, Malekith. Alright, well, that was a very successful victory for us. That makes me feel slightly better after getting massively defeated. Yeah, so in this case, his dino-heavy army, I mean, normally you can sometimes ride that to victory, but the Dark Elves, in my opinion, are one of the best at shutting that down. And one of the reasons why, and again, it's one of the key reasons, in my opinion, is because the Lizardmen don't have, like, in this type of build, you have no answer to the Hargoneth Executioners, and the Executioners just slaughter your Saurus warriors. And without all that extra hit point sponge, your dinosaurs become a lot more vulnerable. Now, in this case, the Cold One Knights, I didn't use them great, but we did get to use them. You saw I used them to stop a couple of dinosaurs in a few spots, and that's worthwhile in the sense that they can't get to your Dark Shards. Malekith can also get in the way of a dinosaur and help stop it, and then Witch Elves will drive them crazy, and when they lose control, the dinosaurs are far less effective than they are whenever they can stay under control. This kind of thing is typical, again, from the Lizardmen, because chameleon skinks are good units, and kind of the way I dealt with them there, some of the ways I dealt with them was useful. At first, you know, when I kind of just turned a spearman to get in their way, as long as you have a unit like that to afford to do that, it can be worth it, because the shields will make these guys not as effective, and they can't really get to the key units that they need to hurt. Where I screwed up was when I left my Cold One Knights in the fire of these guys for too long, because cavalry seems to suffer terribly, and so do like big flying units from the Chameleon Skinks. Yeah, he just couldn't keep his dinosaurs safe, and my Dark Shards didn't get a lot of kills, but all of them picked up a chevron, which just shows you the kills they were getting were pretty important. And again, the Saurus warriors couldn't face it. So hope y'all enjoyed this one. A couple live battles for your Friday. Appreciate MSI sponsoring the channel. Appreciate you being here. HeirofCarthage signing out. I will see you soon.